beautiful ladies. I hope you are having a great week. Today I am talking to you about the suffering we cause ourselves and ways out of it, because at the end of the day, you all want to suffer less and feel happier, suffer less and live more, suffer less and become versions of your best self that you haven't been able to realize just yet. And so today is a day for you to show up for yourself and listen to some wisdom from a psychologist about how to navigate times of uncertainty, times of suffering, times of experiencing life out of our control, which most of it is. Thank you for joining me today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Wendy O'Connor. I'm a positive psychologist and life strategist for women. I coach women worldwide on designing their happiest lives using the science of happiness and strategies that work. So if you are struggling, know that you're not alone. There are so many women just like you out there wanting, yearning, longing for a happier, healthier life in some way, shape, or form. And I thank you for being here in this community and following me and listening in to improve your life. Showing up is the biggest part of the battle. It is the hardest for so many of us to do. And so once you get going, consistency can actually be pretty easy if you have the right system in place. So let's talk for a minute about suffering. What does it mean to suffer? So number one, suffering really means that we are not happy with where our lives are. Maybe we're feeling anxious. Maybe we're feeling overly stressed. Maybe we're feeling burnt out, depleted. Oftentimes we're feeling stagnant in our lives and feeling like it's just not taking the direction that we really hoped it would. Suffering often comes from just the way we think about our lives, the way we perceive it, the way we look at towards our future, and maybe we pretend we have that crystal ball and we try to fortune tell and we jump to conclusions about what's to come. Or we catastrophize and we focus on the what ifs. What if this goes wrong? What if this doesn't happen? What if I fail? And those thoughts really impact not only the way we feel emotionally, but then the actions and behaviors that we engage in or not. And so my invitation to you today is to really think about, where are you suffering in your life and what's really the cause of it? Oftentimes we think that the cause of it is the situation that we're going through, but really the cause of our suffering is about the interpretation or the meaning we're attaching to the situation. The way we're perceiving and interpreting that situation is what's causing us to suffer. It's what's causing us to feel upset, angry, hurt, disappointed, discouraged, hopeless. That's what's causing the suffering. And so if we can start to attract more awareness in our lives around how we're feeling, and not only how we're feeling, but why we're feeling it, this is what gives us so much power to make changes in our lives that actually serve us, that actually align for us with the goals that we have in our lives, or the ways that we want to show up, or the ways that we want to live our lives by our own design, can happen once we build awareness over what we're thinking and how that thought is affecting our reality, how it's affecting our perception of our world, and then how it's trickling down into the choices and decisions that we're making. So to alleviate suffering, we really need to know what thoughts are having control over us or power over us. Maybe we're giving our power to our thoughts, which is often the case. And then knowing what actions to engage in that are going to alleviate some suffering. So one thing we can do is identify the specific thoughts that are trickling down into how we feel emotionally. Maybe it's stress, burnout, anxiety, or stagnation, whatever we're feeling in our life. And then ask ourselves, is there any different way that I could think about this situation? When I get that email from my boss, when I get that text from my partner, when I get disappointing news that my brain all of a sudden filters as threatening or upsetting, is there another way I can actually think about this in my life? Is there a different perspective I could potentially entertain or consider? The second thing we want to do is really understand, how did that thought really impact me emotionally? So maybe it's not one emotion, maybe it's several emotions that I'm experiencing as a result of the way I'm thinking about the situation. How am I feeling emotionally? And then what can I do with this emotion? So most of the time we try to bury it or suppress it, or we lash out at the world. And instead, I'm going to invite you to consider adopting a healthy mindset with navigating strong emotions. How might you like to navigate or handle or cope with or deal with this strong emotion? What do you really need from within? And oftentimes we can think of younger versions of ourselves, even our child selves, that we think, gosh, what I really need is nurturing or assurance or love or protection. Can we start to create that for ourselves just when it comes to navigating hard emotions, difficult emotions, scary emotions, strong emotions? And thirdly, I invite you to consider your behavior. What are the choices that you may not even realize are choices because you're just so engaged in a pattern that repeats itself over and over again that feels like it's on autopilot, not even in your awareness? What are those behaviors you're engaging in that aren't actually serving the way you want to feel in this life? They aren't serving the way you want to look at your life, feel about your life, experience your life. What are those actions, those behaviors, those patterns, those habits that are actually creating some suffering for you, that may be adding or elevating the level of suffering that you're experiencing? These are the three things that make it much easier for us to turn down the dial on suffering and to turn up the dial on living intentionally with our own hearts in mind, with our strengths and values at the helm. This is what really allows us to step into a place of living, feeling more that we're flourishing, feeling more fulfilled, and less held back, less weighed down, and less depleted by our lives. I hope this helps you today. I will be back next Thursday with some more happiness hacks, and follow me. I'm a psychologist and I'm happy to share my wisdom with you all. Have a great day.